A few years ago, in the prosperous town of Zangora, there lived a young man named Kato. He was a brilliant and respected physician who had dedicated his life to healing the sick and caring for the less fortunate. His kindness knew no bounds, and the people of Zangora adored him for his selflessness. Kato's generosity extended beyond the walls of his clinic. Often, he would treat the poor without asking for payment, saying, "Your health is more important than gold. When you are strong, you can build your fortune." His benevolence earned him the love of both the wealthy and the less privileged. The rich showered him with gifts, gold, land, and fine horses, making him one of the most prosperous men in Zangora. Despite his wealth and status, Kato remained humble and focused solely on his work, never indulging in the attention of women. However, Kato's life took an unexpected turn when he met Sira. She was a young, graceful woman who had just begun working as a banker. Her beauty was undeniable, and her intelligence made her even more alluring. One day, Kato walked into the bank, and Sira was assigned to handle his transaction. As she processed his request, she noticed how the entire bank seemed to revere him. Customers and bank officials alike took a moment to greet him, expressing their gratitude for his healing touch. Sira was intrigued by Kato's charm, generosity, and quiet strength. As they spoke, a connection blossomed between them. Kato, who had never entertained the thought of romance, found himself drawn to her. He was captivated by her grace, and for the first time, he entertained the idea of companionship. They agreed to have dinner that evening, and from that night on, their relationship grew deeper. Months later, Kato proposed to Sira, and she accepted with joy. They were both overjoyed to have found each other and soon began planning their wedding. But before the grand day arrived, an unforeseen tragedy struck. One day, while shopping for a wedding dress, Sira encountered an old acquaintance, Django, her former lover from university. Django had once courted Sira, but had left her when she refused his demands for intimacy. Seeing her again, now more radiant than ever, rekindled his bitterness. When he learned that she was soon to be married, his jealousy turned into malice. "Come with me," he said. "My sister sells wedding gowns. She has the most exquisite designs, and I promise you'll find the perfect one." Unaware of his sinister intentions, Sira followed him. But as soon as she stepped into his home, he locked the doors and revealed his true colors. Overpowered by his strength, she became his victim. Broken and humiliated, Sira fled from the house and found herself at Kato's doorstep, trembling with sorrow. Kato, upon seeing her disheveled state, demanded to know what had happened. With tears streaming down her face, Sira told him the truth. Kato was consumed by fury. He vowed to bring Django to justice, but when Sira hesitated, fearing what Kato might do, his mind spiraled into doubt. Why would she stop me from punishing him? He wondered. Did she willingly go to him? Did she betray me? His love for Sira turned into suspicion. He felt as though his dreams had been shattered. In his pain, Kato called off the wedding. Despite Sira's pleas and assurances of her innocence, he could not overcome the bitterness in his heart. Unable to bear staying in Zangora any longer, Kato left for a distant village called Nokobi, where he sought to start anew. But though he was respected in his new home and continued his medical practice, his heart remained haunted by the past. Anger and resentment festered within him, transforming his soul. His heartbreak soon twisted into an obsession. One fateful day, a young woman entered his clinic seeking treatment. She bore an uncanny resemblance to Sarah, a dark thought took root in Kato's mind. He asked her a question he had never asked before. "Are you a virgin?" When she answered yes, something inside him snapped. He locked the doors and committed an unforgivable act, robbing her of her innocence. And from that day, the kind and noble healer was no more. He had become a predator lurking in the shadows. One by one, the young virgins of Nokobi fell victim to Kato's sinister actions. His status as a revered doctor made it impossible for the girls to expose him. No one would believe them. They suffered in silence, their tears hidden in the dark corners of their homes. But evil does not go unpunished forever. One girl, a courageous young woman named Tama, devised a plan to end Kato's reign of terror. She went to his clinic with a hidden recorder and a pouch of dried pepper. When Kato attempted to overpower her, she threw the pepper into his eyes, blinding him temporarily. As he screamed in agony, she recorded his confession, in which he proclaimed his vile deeds with pride. That night, Tama presented the evidence before the village chief. The elders summoned the entire community for an emergency meeting, and Kato was brought before them. The once revered healer was now a monster exposed for all to see. One by one, his victims stepped forward, revealing their pain. The villagers, filled with rage and sorrow, demanded justice. Kato tried to flee, but the people of Nokobi would not allow it. He was stripped of his honor, publicly shamed, and banished from the village. The law took its course, ensuring he spent the rest of his days in a prison far away from civilization. As he languished in his cell, Kato was left alone with his thoughts. He realized that it was not Sira's tragedy that had destroyed him. It was his own inability to overcome his pain. The darkness he had nurtured within himself had consumed him, turning him into the very thing he despised. The story of Kato serves as a powerful lesson. Pain, if left unchecked, can transform even the noblest soul into a monster. In the end, it is not the world that shapes us, but how we choose to respond to our trials. Let this tale be a reminder that justice always prevails, and that healing must come from within before it can be shared with others.